Alright, so before you do anything here, make sure that you mark that bolt that I'm removing here. You want to mark the flange, and then you want to mark where it actually goes into the upper control arm. That is a cammed washer, so if you don't put it back in the same spot, then you're definitely going to have to go to an alignment shop and have adjustments done there. Prior to removing this, the day before, I sprayed everything down with a penetrating fluid, and I have put the nut back on the end of that bolt, that way I don't damage the threads. I have seen where some people's had to actually cut those bolts out, so this project should only take maybe an hour or two, but if you end up having to cut the bolt out, then you're probably looking at some downtime if you have to order that. So don't expect to hop in and drive away as soon as you get this project done. Alright, so we almost got the bolt out. They can be a little tricky. I've tried adjusting the arm up and down, take some tension off of it. And there I'm using a punch, and we've got the bolt almost ready to come out. Unfortunately, I did not. I should put, okay, there's the other cammed washer that's on the other side. Again, you don't want to lose that. You want to make sure you have that back on the bolt in the correct way. So yeah, there I am jacking the lower control arm up just a little bit, trying to get some pressure off of it again. Didn't quite have it high enough, but I mean, it was close enough for me to get out of there. I could have done a little better job there. Alright, so next we're going to pull this down. We're going to have to undo our speed sensor cable from the upper control arm. Then we have to unbolt our brake line and our brake wear sensor. Not a big deal there. It's just one bolt holding that on. Then I think the speed sensor is just a little plug on top. And here I'm getting our press kit ready. So you do have to press these out. I ordered this on Amazon. You could probably borrow one of these from like a local auto shop or rent one. Alright, so the bushing that I have on the left hand side is small enough to where it will fit all the way through the arm, and then I've got a large bushing on their side to where the bushing we're pressing out can fit inside of that sleeve there. I did use an impact. Next time I don't think I would use an impact. Here I'm not too incredibly concerned. You can see I'm crushing the rubber there. On removal, not a big deal. I'm not worried about it. I didn't want to end up with one of those presses stuck inside of the upper spindle, so I went just a little bit smaller than I probably needed to. And I probably should have also used a deep well socket. That way I wouldn't have to reset. That's what's happened here is the threaded rod actually started pushing back towards the impact gun that I was using. So yeah, with the deep well socket that would not have been an issue. Alright, so now we've got the bushing pressed all the way out. So let's take off our press here. Okay, and it just pops right on out. Alright, so now I've got the new one set in place. It's not actually pressed in yet. And this time I am going to use a ratchet and an end wrench to press it back in. This does take a little bit of while to do this. Obviously the impact is a little quicker, but I wanted to make sure that I got it started straight and didn't damage it. So the press that's on the right hand side there is big enough to fit over the rubber, because you definitely don't want to damage that, and it will not actually travel through. So once you get that tightened all the way down, or to where it stops, then you should be flush. That's what you're obviously going for here, is make sure your bushing's sticking out of both sides of that upper spindle the same distance. Alright, so now this is just going to be a matter of getting this put back up in place and getting our lines put back on. So it's not that hard of a project, unless you run into problems where things break or you've got bolts frozen that don't want to move. Now we're just jacking it up into place, getting some tension off of it, and yeah, a little smack, and line it up with a machine bar, and everything is good. So now putting this cammed bolt back in, you want to make sure that you end up in that slot, or you get lined up in that slot properly, and you also want to make sure you get your washer put on to where the cam of the washer and the cam of the bolt both are lined up properly and pointing the same direction. Like I said earlier too, you want to make sure that you put a marker on there, that way you know where things go, because you can see there's a lot of movement there, and that's what actually is going to control the camber of your rear wheel. And here I am just making sure I'm in that little slot there properly, and as you can see, as I turn that cammed bolt, you see the rotor there tipping in and out, or the whole entire spindle tipping in and out. With mine, unfortunately, a tire shop had put new tires on my vehicle and was nice enough to do a full alignment for me, where unfortunately they'd melted a sensor, and that bushing was bad, so they should never actually done an alignment on it. So I'm gonna have to take this in to get an alignment done. I'm not sure where it's supposed to be at exactly, because they did change that. Unfortunately, they moved it with a bad bushing in there, so I'm just kind of winging it, just trying to make it look like it's straight up and down with the vehicle for now. But again, I'm not really sure where it should be. So obviously I did not put that in the same position as from when I removed it, and again I just kind of eyeballed it. That is another thing too that I've read. I don't know if it's on just the front, but the back, it's always a good idea to measure the height from the center of your spindle down to the floor of where you originally removed that bolt from, and then when you go to tighten that back down, put it back in the same place. I know it matters on the inner bushings, maybe not so much on the outer, but still good to be safe. Thanks for watching.